This is the Post Shift Podcast, a raw look at the hospitality industry. Hey, Post Shift Podcast, this is Post Shift Shot number 10. So this is a little bit of a throwback to my interview with Khalil Aktar from CBC Radio when we first opened up FTW, Foxtrot Tango Whiskey. It was located downtown. It was a 4.5 month project that just didn't get its ground, didn't get its feet. And unfortunately, things that were uncontrollable and outside of my control happened, and unfortunately we got shut down after 4.5 months. Well, we had to shut down after 4.5 months, and so this is a little blip of what we were doing at FTW. I do miss the space, I do miss the people that I worked with, and this is kind of cool just because we were really pushing the envelope for the cocktail culture in Victoria, and I do miss it, but I am very, very happy about where I am now. So when you look back and you think things are failures, sometimes the greatest failures can be lead to your best success. So that's the way I look at it. I hope you like this episode. It's a short one, but thank you very much for your support. I'm also always grateful for listening, and I will see you later on this week. Bye. We do about 8 to 9 different styles of ice, and we'll do more and more as we progress with that.
Sorry, 8 to 9 styles of ice.
Yeah, we do.
Let's open the freezer here. I want to see what 8 to 9 types of ice looks like here.
Okay, so we've got on the top level we've got all our crushed ices. So we've got our 3 different flavored crushed ice. We've got our mint tea crushed ice that we use. We don't use mint; it's a very perishable item in the bar. So we try and cut down our perishable items in the bar just to cut down our carbon footprint. We have orange flower water and star anise crushed ice. We have Little Jumbo tea crushed ice. It's a tea I developed when we opened Little Jumbo, and that goes in one of our swizzles. We have a grapefruit sorbet from Cold Comfort. We have frozen rose petals, and then hopefully this weekend I can dial it in. We'll have dry ice as well. So that's just a portion of our ice, and then on the bottom row we have our pineapple ice cubes, our clear ice chunks, which I carve in house. So I freeze a big block of clear ice, and I carve it down with a cleaver and a hammer. I've got Campari orange ice cubes for one of our drinks, and then for our Pimm's cup, instead of doing a cucumber spear in the glass, I actually juice cucumbers, mix it with water, freeze them into spears, and so it's actually a cucumber water spear.
It looks like a cucumber Mr. Freezy.
Exactly. So
nice.
That's just our ice component of the bar.
That's just the ice.
That's just the ice.
And then you're making syrups and various infusions and things like that. You've got a long prep list here, I suspect.
We're wrapping our heads around prep right now. It's slowly but surely we're building. We've been very busy this week, so our opening week we never expected it to be this. It has been insane. So my prep load usually sits around about 4 to 5 hours, maybe 6 hours a day for 2 people. So we do around about 40 to 50 man hours a week just in prep to get the bar ready.
Before you're even open.
Before we even open. We open at 6 p.m. and a lot of people have asked us why 6 p.m. And I'm like, well, we're trying to do more of imagine a dining experience with cocktails. We don't serve food, we just do drinks. It's definitely a dining experience for cocktails, but you look at the prep list and the loads that the crew are working with. Like I prep all day, then my kids come in at 4:30, and then we just hammer right. It takes a good hour and a half to get this set up and tie off all the prep before we even open.
Innovation seems to be the name of the game in cocktail. If you're opening a new place, it better one-up every other place.
Yeah, so I think for innovation in cocktails, it's always happening. Like with the internet, you get bombarded with all the new things. One thing we'll probably get before the end of the year is a food ink printer.
Food ink printer.
So it's just a regular printer, regular printer, and you get instead of ink cartridges, it's food ink. And so then you put rice paper into the printer, and you can print out any picture onto the rice paper, cut the rice paper out, you put it on top of a drink, like a whiskey sour, and the egg, the drink will actually dissolve the rice paper and leave the ink imprinted onto the egg whites. So we're contemplating getting that by the end of the year. It's one of my toys that I definitely want to get, because I'd love to do the FTW symbol on top of a sour. But that's the sort of thing, you see it in a different market, and everybody usually says, well, London and New York, that only works there. But I like to try and figure out a way that we can bring it and make it approachable and fun here.
What's the craziest element that enters into these things?
For us, right now, like we've got a drink called the Campfire Stories, and it's a cocktail. I'll turn around and show you.
Sure.
So it's a cocktail, and it's served in this bamboo box. So the cocktail goes into the glass here.
So is this peat moss in the box?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, so it's basically just moss. So it's called Campfire Stories. So the drink itself is a small cocktail. We take a little one of these dishes here, and we have a Viva Puff. So like a classic Canadian Viva Puff.
Sorry, remind me, what's a Viva Puff?
It's kind of like a small without the heat. So it's a cookie with marshmallow and a little raspberry and chocolate on top.
Yeah, sure.
So we put that on top. We torch it a little bit just to sheen it up. A little bit of smoked salt on top of that. This week, when we're just trying to figure out how to do dry ice perfectly, so it's achievable. We'll put a little dry ice into this dish underneath the moss. And that will be we'll pour Isla whiskey and woodland essence on top of that, so that the smoke that comes off smells like you're camping. And so you'll have your cocktail, which has got a marshmallow foam and a burnt toast and graham cracker powder on top. That's then torched, and then the Viva Puff, and then a little side of CO2. And this has actually been quite a big seller.
It's not a rum and coke.
Yeah, yeah. So, and again, if you want to come down and drink a rum and coke or have a pilsner, like we've got a whole list of Boilermakers on the menu, and the Boilermakers are strictly for like it's definitely an industry sort of angle. Like, come down and have a Boilermaker, because it whether or not you're having a $400 Azarac or just a beer, it's still a place that we want people to feel like they've stepped back in time and realized that. They're sitting in a bar in 1956 on the LA Strip with Sinatra sitting beside them because he just got off a movie set and having a 3 martini lunch.